Britain is a hotel nation. The hospitality industry is worth a staggering £114 billion a year to the UK economy, and we have over 500,000 hotel rooms. But there's a problem. Far too many British hotels aren't up to scratch. Eminent hotelier Ruth Watson has been in the business for over 25 years.
For too long, British hotels have offered poor standards. But now, with so many holidaymakers staying at home, it's time to raise the bar. Britain deserves better.
Ruth wants to nip the problem in the bud by helping 6 new hoteliers get it right before the rot sets in.
If I can offer advice to first-time hoteliers right from the outset, then I think I can stop them making catastrophic mistakes. What the hell do you know about running a hotel? Absolutely nothing.
I think it's not rocket science, but I might be wrong.
She'll take them from initial concept to building and design work.
Hey! I'll be absolutely frank, it looks like a tip. I'm going to be really rude here. Really looks to me like a very expensive Greek restaurant.
And send them behind the scenes at Britain's top hotels. This time it's Kent and Clare in Lincolnshire.
This is so prone to disaster. I mean, it just fills me with horror. No bride will ever forgive you for buggering up her wedding.
We have toilets that aren't flushing, we have bathtubs that are not draining. We're not off to a great start.
When Ruth sends in her undercover inspector, will the hoteliers get top marks or fail to make the grade?
Knowing what you know now, would you do it again?
The East Midlands may not be known as a tourist hotspot, but it attracts over 16 million visitors to stay in the region each year. There are hundreds of hotels and B&Bs. Stubton Hall is about to join their ranks. On the border between Lincolnshire and Nottinghamshire, just outside the historic town of Newark, Stubton Hall is a Regency mansion built in 1814. Kent and Clare Brainerd moved to the UK from America more than 20 years ago and fell in love with the English country fairy tale. The family bought this neglected house with the dream of restoring it to its former glory and sharing it with the public.
Of all the things that we could have done with this house, the hotel really seemed like something that would be a lot of fun.
Their big ambition is to make Stubton Hall one of the best hotels and wedding venues in the UK.
Whenever we would go to other people's hotels, we'd say, we'd probably do that differently, or we'd do that, or what do you think of this food? And I think we're just going to carry on with that and bring it here and give it that personal touch. I think we're going to be great hoteliers.
Kent has carved out a successful career as a music producer, while Claire is a published art historian. Now they want to change their lives with this ambitious hotel project. Without any formal training, Kent has appointed himself as sole architect.
I'm not fully competent as an architect. I know exactly what I want, but it's difficult for me to translate sometimes into something for the builders.
So far, Kent and Clare have spent nearly £5 million, but they are almost 6 months over schedule. With the building site costing them £25,000 a week, they are hemorrhaging cash and are desperate for the hotel to start making them some money.
We went to the bank and asked for some more money, and that was just when the economy tanked. And it's been a very difficult few months since then.
With their funds dwindling, Kent and Clare are at crisis point. Award-winning hotelier Ruth Watson steps into the breach.
You bought a house with how many bedrooms?
About 15.
And you've now got a hotel with 41?
We also, along the way, decided we had to build a conservatory, an orangery, a function room, and a spa.
So you really have filled the brief here, haven't you?
Work began 2 years ago, but despite spending millions, much of the hotel is still looking like a building site. Ruth wonders what's causing the delays.
Presumably it's a huge project. You've got an architect working on this?
Yes, very good one. It's me.
Right.
So what we've done is, as we've gone along, it's a little bit like jazz. A worker will do that, and then I'll go da 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 da, and then we'll change this. Foreman will go, do do boo boo, and I go ba da psh, and it's all come together in an improvisational way, and that's how you get a place with real character.
The property started life as a Regency mansion. Dormitories were added in 1950 when it became a boys' school. Kent's jazz architecture has created a conservatory and a new function space they call the Orangery, complete with a kitchen and bar and Doric columns. But they didn't stop there. They demolished the dormitories and are presently building a huge spa with a grotto and mock Roman pool. Enough space for a dance studio, 18 treatment rooms, another restaurant, and 26 more bedrooms upstairs. They've also created a lake and a 300-foot water feature modelled on Versailles.
This is your canal, your Versailles ditch.
Kent's Folly.
We call it Versailles Light, L-I-T-E.
Yeah. How much did it cost?
Oh, not that much, actually.
I think £35,000.
I'm slightly mystified as why the eye is drawn straight down to a not terribly attractive 60s-looking house at the bottom. Are you going to be screening that?
Well, you see, we've already tried to screen it, and we spent £15,000 coming up with lots of trees.
But Kent's jazz style shows a strong creative streak which will give Stubton its unique look. Art historian Claire has already spent £100,000 on oil paintings. They've spent £25,000 on fireplaces and £500,000 on the Victorian-style orangery.
How much did this place cost?
$1.9 million.
And how much have you spent on it?
By the time we finish, we will have spent $6.5 million. We never started this with a purely cold business idea. This was all about restoring this beautiful old house, and it kind of went from there.
Labor of love, definitely a labor of love.
Kent and Claire plan to combine classical art and architecture with more contemporary design. But it may not be to everyone's taste.
Tell me about the colours. I mean, this is sort of dark diarrhea in here.
I wouldn't have chose dark diarrhea. I think rich Havana is better.
The idea in here is to bring in a lot of gold. We're going to do some gold leaf trim on the shutters.
You're frightening me.
No, I mean subtle.
But Ruth's worried that by focusing on expensive aesthetics, some of the more basic infrastructure may have been overlooked.
Deliveries, the drayman, his barrels. How's he going to get them into your room here?
We've got an entrance door right there, about 7 feet down the hall. Right
I'm just thinking that you don't really want deliveries going in front of your customers who might be walking down to their rooms.
And that's not the only flaw in their plans. Kent and Claire are keen to attract lucrative wedding parties to Stubton. The Orangery will serve as a function room for 200 guests, but it's separated from the hotel by the kitchens. The only way to get there is by going outside.
How do the customers actually get to this room? Because you've just walked me through a function kitchen.
There'll be a ramp and an attractive path. You'll come out a door that we didn't see today.
You see, the problem is if you've got the bride in one of your best rooms in the main building and she's all in her finery and she's coming down to this room, she's not going to want to drag the dress through some uncovered, possibly wet, possibly windy piece of corridor. You know, this is where, if I may say, a professional architect would have probably got it right.
When designing a hotel, you have to think about the flow of guests and staff. On average, over 20% of the floor space will be for back of house. This is needed to accommodate kitchen, laundry, offices and storage. With top country house hotels needing up to 8 staff members per guest, it's essential that there's adequate space for staff to move through the building. When Stubton Hall caters an event for 200, they must remember that this will generate 1,000 glasses to wash up, 1,000 plates, and over 1,500 pieces of cutlery. If they don't have adequate space to do this back of house, it could spell disaster and cost thousands to put right.
Everything that's about practicality, about function, has almost been glossed over. And this is going to be a major problem if this place is going to trade as a hotel.
Since Kent and Claire are over budget and behind schedule, Ruth has a radical solution.
At the moment, you're squandering your money, your time, your talent, your skills, labour over the entire site. And I think you should be confining it to the one bit that you can get ready as soon as possible, just to get some cash flow coming in.
Ruth thinks the hotel's survival depends on stopping building work on the spa so they can ready the house for those all-important summer weddings.
Start small. Get the hotel done, get the function room done as soon as possible, get some cash flow, get the weddings coming in, and then we can open up the spa perhaps a little bit later on as like a phase 2 in the project.
Sometimes you have to take little step forwards before you can make big leaps, and I think that was sage advice.
But there's a problem as Kent's plans are called into question.
We've built this beautiful space, but no place to do the dishes.
And Ruth has some serious concerns.
Is this going to be ready for the first wedding?
Music producer Kent Brainerd and his art historian wife Claire want to open a grand country house hotel and spa in the Lincolnshire countryside and make it one of the best in Britain. But their plans have gone awry. The couple have lavished £5 million on the hotel so far, but don't have the money to finish it. Ruth Watson has advised them to stop work on the spa wing. They can then concentrate on opening the remaining part of the hotel as a wedding venue in 6 months' time, when Ruth will send in a secret inspector.
Kent and Claire have been so wrapped up in this project, it doesn't seem to have dawned on them that very soon they're going to have paying guests with very high expectations. They have no idea how to run events, so I'm sending them off to London's glamorous Mayfair Hotel, which holds parties all year round. I'm looking forward to seeing what Claire's capable of, and as for Kent, well, I think this is a moment where he will realise that his jazz improvisational philosophy just simply doesn't work.
Tonight, we are hosting a party which you're going to run, and will be your responsibility to get right. Okay. Should we make a start?
Absolutely.
Good, come this way.
All right.
Events are serious business for the Mayfair. They hold 28 functions a week that can cost anything from £5,000 to £250,000. It's the official hotel for London Fashion Week and is a firm favourite with the film industry. Today, there are 9 events on at the hotel. Kent and Claire have been given the chance to oversee a promotional drinks party in the most exclusive venue, the £5,000 a night penthouse suite.
It's important tonight, knowing who's coming, that everything is just right. So even though you're in charge, we won't let you get away with anything that's not the Mayfair standard.
Of course.
These are the mise en place things that you need, all the items for tonight. Where would you start off?
We need to find all of the equipment and the glassware and things like that, and make sure it's up here long before the guests arrive.
So that's sort of where we're going to start. Thanks, guys.
It's a great opportunity for the couple to gain vital experience. Claire will oversee the whole function, while Kent will take responsibility for refreshments.
We really need to start moving this on. Just take it to the end there. You got the bar there?
Shall I get some tape and...
Yes, please, yeah.
It's pretty high pressure.
Good job, yeah. Very good job.
Claire is clearly relishing the job.
You can kind of hover above it a little bit. You can see those little details that need to be done. I really don't understand about these cocktail clips. This seems like a very unsteady stack of plates, and it looks like a recipe for disaster.
No, that should be fine.
After only a short time, Claire's mind turns to how events might run at Stubton Hall.
I have to say, I've seen a few things that I would do slightly differently.
Oh, this is typical.
As someone who's managed Madonna's wedding at Skibo Castle, Charles knows there's no place for amateurs in this business.
I think without any previous experience and going into this industry, it's going to be very, very hard.
With the partygoers due to arrive shortly, Charles returns to do a walkthrough, putting himself in the guests' shoes.
Is this area looking okay?
Yes?
What's missing? It smells terrible, because the kitchen's just here.
I happen to know that incense is on its way up.
Fantastic. You're thinking, excellent. Let's move outside. Oh, sorry, what's that?
A wobbly table.
I can fix that.
Okay, why wasn't that picked up? That's quite serious. I'm concerned about those plates being a little bit wobbly.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that, because I thought it was a really bad system. If somebody's carrying a large stack of those, it's just going to be a disaster.
Yeah, you make a very good point.
Claire's focus has clearly impressed Charles, but how will Kent fare?
What champagne are we serving tonight? It concerns me that you're looking for the bottle. Is it not here? Are there any other things being served tonight?
Margaret River, Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, hopefully by the time guests arrive, you'll remember that without having to look at the label.
Absolutely.
Good. Claire, in particular, has a wonderful eye for detail. She sees things through a customer's eye. Kent, on the other hand, the operational execution and the detail will come to him later in life than it already clearly has to Claire.
I'm dying to drink one of these. I would love to drink that champagne.
They've been on their feet for over 6 hours and are starting to realise how much work they'll face when their own hotel is open.
I think I just had this realization that, there's been all this building, and now we're almost there, and now we've got to go do this, and it's going to be a lot of hard work.
Work at the hotel continues apace. Stubton is due to open as a wedding venue in just a few months. Kent's budget may be running out, but he doesn't want to compromise on the look of the hotel. Today, an £8,000 decorative clock tower is being installed. Claire is busy drumming up business. She's found a wedding planner and created a website for the hotel. Marketing the wedding venue is crucial, as money is the predominant concern.
It's still scary. I mean, there's still so much money involved that you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, oh my God, you know, there's still lots and lots of hurdles before we get to the end of this.
Ruth thinks that the only way for them to start earning money is to get the wedding venue up and running. For this, they need to complete critical areas, such as the bridal suite.
Walk me around this room, because I absolutely know you can spend money. Of that I have no doubt.
Well,
what I want to know is, do you know where to put things?
So you come in here, big bed here.
Yep.
Wherever possible, we will have either a small bench or a sofa, perhaps in this room at the end of the bed. We will do a little seating area around the fireplace there.
The super king-size bed will have pride of place. A chaise longue will sit at the foot, perfect for gazing out towards Kent's Versailles-inspired water feature. Further seating will be focused around the fireplace, and a full-length mirror will allow nervous brides to prepare. But the room's biggest feature is the hand-painted wallpaper.
So how much did the wallpaper cost? Because it looks a bit special to me.
It's very special.
Tell me.
Kent went to China to get it.
And so this cost about £1,500.
And the flight?
And the flight, $1,000 with the hotels.
And the luxury doesn't stop there. In the bathroom, Kent has his heart set on a tented effect, using fabric on the walls.
The idea here is this is going to be like Napoleon's campaign tent.
I think you're insane. I'm thinking about the lady with her lipstick who just swings round to make a point to her husband and slashes it across the walls. I mean, this is so prone to disaster. I mean, it just fills me with horror.
Good hoteliers have to think about practicalities. Public areas get more traffic, but it's the bedrooms which see more damage. Behind closed hotel doors, people are far more careless than they are in their own homes, using towels to clean shoes and to hide spillages. On average, 70% of a hotel is covered in carpet, and these are replaced roughly every 7 years. It's best to avoid white and beige, but also solid dark colours. A textured mid-shade is the best choice to hide marks. Hoteliers recognise that damage and wear will happen to the rooms, which is why top-end hotels employ a full-time decorator to maintain this finish.
Whenever you do anything bespoke in a hotel environment, you've got to remember it is so vulnerable. And whereas at home you will treat it with love and care and respect, your guests, I don't care how much they're paying, what social class they come from, will not. You will have the person who will spill the glass of red wine on the carpet, who won't bother to tell you, won't bother to clear it up, who wouldn't dream of doing that in their own home, but they'll do it in your hotel. I think what's coming through loud and clear is the naivety about how the public behave, the lack of respect they can show to things.
I had mixed feelings when she was telling us, because part of me was saying, no, they're not, they're going to respect it. And the other part of me was thinking, oh, it's really going to break our hearts when some of this happens.
It's February. In just 6 months' time, Ruth will be sending in a secret inspector to evaluate the premises. If Stubton can get listed as one of the top 100 UK wedding venues, it could provide a much-needed boost for business. But building work has fallen behind, and Kent's lack of training as an architect is exasperating his foreman.
He wants to paint a wall before it's plastered. He wants to plaster the wall before it's built, but he don't realise there's a procedures to go through, so it's not easy.
But the foreman isn't the only one worried about Kent's competence as an architect.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Since her last visit, Ruth has been keeping an eye on Kent's ever-changing blueprints and is worried that things don't add up. She's concerned that Kent's designs for the kitchens don't allow the staff to move around the space quickly and efficiently. It's something he needs to remedy now, or the kitchens won't function properly.
Well, let me think about this for a bit. I'm going back to the drawing board quite literally.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Thanks a lot, Ruth.
Bye for now.
Okay.
Okay,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye-bye. Oh.
Stop work now. Somebody's got to make a decision, quick.
But every little change costs time and money. Two things Kent can ill afford.
We built this beautiful space. We've got lots of room for 200 people to sit down and have dinner, but no place to do the dishes. Oh well.
But matters are about to get worse. The money they thought they had to finish the project has gone, and the banks are unwilling to lend any more.
I think that we are sadly kind of victims of what's happening at the moment in the banking crisis.
It hurts that the thought that we might not be able to finish it, or that we might run out of money and not be able to pay our workers. It's put a lot of strain on our relationship, you know, and our life, because all our focus has been on Stubton for the last couple of years. We have nothing more that we can give to the project.
The couple are forced to make a big decision, to cash in their last investments when the market is at its lowest. The stress of potentially losing everything is taking its toll.
I'm really lucky to have her around, because when things got tough, she was a rock, and they've gotten really tough.
Yeah, we're a good team. We work well together.
But there's no going back for Kent and Claire. Their only hope is to be up and running for their first wedding in 3 months.
When I saw you last, you were really nervous about whether funding was going to come through. Sleepless nights? How did you cope?
It got really bad. It got to the point that this wasn't fun anymore. I mean, it became a nightmare. It started out as a real dream, and it became a nightmare.
Is this going to be ready for the first wedding, the Orangery? That's
Yes.
what you're going to be
It has to
using.
be.
It has to be.
We've committed ourselves already.
So how long have the builders said it's going to take?
Just over 3 months more.
It's tight, isn't it?
It's very tight.
Our program like this is often organic, and sometimes
No,
you realize...
not often organic. In your case, totally, completely, utterly, unviably, absolutely, to the T, organic, or jazz, shall we say.
But that's why it's so special.
Yeah, well, it's why it's so special. It's also why it's cost you such a lot of money.
With so little time before the hotel opens and money so tight, Ruth wants to check on Kent's progress designing the troublesome kitchen.
Dishes over there for washing.
Yeah, but that's plates and wash. That's
Glass wash here.
Right, so they're going to have to come all the way through the Orangery, through into there, into the glass wash.
Nothing is ideal in that circumstance.
Ruth still thinks Kent's inexperience could cause huge problems.
When you come to core utilities like this will actually dictate every single day of the running of this business, whether it works smoothly and easily or whether it's awkward and difficult and perhaps more expensive or perhaps more dangerous and all those things.
We're serious about this, and we're not trying to just have fun with this. This is a lot of money, a big investment, and we take it very seriously.
I honestly think you have got to stop with the jazz.
Point taken.
It's all very well lavishing lots of money on beautiful finishes and interiors, but you also have to be functional, and Kent just doesn't seem to have grasped this fact. So I'm sending him to one of the world's leading hotels where they really do combine both practicality and luxury.
Hi, I'm Claire.
Andrew, nice to meet you.
Kent, pleasure to meet you.
Welcome to Chewton Glen.
Chewton Glen is what Stubton Hall one day aspires to become. It started off with only 8 rooms, but over its 43-year history, it has grown to 58 rooms with 2 restaurants, golf course, croquet lawn, outdoor pool and spa. General Manager Andrew Stembridge makes sure all aspects of hotel life run smoothly. They host over 500 weddings and events each year, turning over millions of pounds worth of profit. This requires a well-designed infrastructure, an area where Kent and Claire lack expertise.
And you need to make sure that back of house, you've got the space to do it, you've got the equipment to do it, and things work. We've got the pass here, so this is where the chef stands, and that's where all the hot food comes out. You've got the ladder through here, so that's where all the cold dishes are being prepared.
We probably reorganised our kitchen 4 or 5 times.
I think the main thing to do is don't compromise when it comes to back of house if you can, just simply because it's really important. If you're going to do events well, your staff have to be able to work.
At Chewton Glen, a lot of effort goes on behind the scenes. The front of house is an oasis of calm. Seeing the long road ahead is an emotional moment for Claire.
I feel like everything is so perfect and polished. And we've been a building site for so long, you wonder if you're ever going to get to the point where the cushions are fluffed.
You'll have your first event, your feet will hurt like hell at the end of it, but everyone, you and your team will sit down at the end of it and you'll all have a glass of champagne after the first event, and then you'll get the letter from the bride and groom and how special you made their occasion, and that's when it's all worthwhile.
With opening day fast approaching, can they pull off the perfect wedding?
Oh, gas.
Or will Kent come a cropper?
So we have no water.
Kent and Claire Brainerd open their hotel for their first wedding in less than 3 months. Financially troubled, they are also up against the clock with the building work. Ruth Watson has serious questions about how this unconventional couple will cope when their hotel opens for the first time.
Building this in the jazz way is one thing. What I absolutely know, incontrovertible, not going to hear a word against it, is that you cannot do weddings in a jazz way. No bride will ever forgive you for buggering up her wedding. I can't tell you how much damage it could do to your business.
If somebody badmouths us, that could be curtains.
Ruth has been a hotelier for over 25 years and knows that reputation is everything in this industry. With customers sharing information so widely on the internet, a bad review can sink a business. At her own hotel, Ruth works closely with housekeepers, as she knows it's the first thing your customers will judge you on.
In my experience, housekeeping is probably the most difficult department to fill successfully. What we're doing today is to interview people for the position of head housekeeper.
Kent and I have no experience with hotel housekeeping.
We can find one as quickly as possible, then you've nailed possibly the most difficult position in the hotel structure.
Because of Stubton's rural location, it won't be easy to find good staff locally, so Ruth has sourced 3 highly qualified candidates. Head housekeepers can be responsible for large numbers of staff, and salaries can go up to £50,000.
I will leap right in and say, do you live locally?
I don't, not very local.
Around 36 miles from here. So
that's
it's about
close.
a 40-minute journey.
That's close in these parts.
Small talk aside, it's down to the cleaning.
What do you think an average time to clean the rooms would be?
I'd say 30 to 45 minutes.
Do you actually do a bit of cleaning yourself?
I do. Yes, yesterday I made 12 beds. My back knows about it today.
Do you,
go on.
Do you smoke?
I don't know.
Would you... How do I ask this in the right way?
Ruth steps in.
If I was an employee coming to see you, I would be slightly frightened about the amateur image you present and the way you talk about things, because I would be thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to have trouble with these owners not knowing how to run a hotel?
But it's down to a musician and an art historian, 2 hotel novices, to choose the best candidate for this senior position.
I'll ask the question.
Please.
Do you think you could work with these 2 people?
I can manage in chaos. Yeah,
Not chaos. Organic is not chaos.
Stay with the word chaos.
Yeah.
Kent and Claire's interviewing style may be a little unorthodox, but they are very personable people, and I think, funnily enough, that's probably the right way to go about it. Would you find it difficult, perhaps knowing more than they did about things?
Not at all. You can be on my team any day.
And if that isn't the right answer...
I don't know, I think...
Okay, if you don't employ her, I will.
I really liked the last candidate. I think that she was good, and we're going to get in touch with her.
So with 1 key staff member earmarked, it's back to the building work. And in spite of Ruth's concerns, Kent is confident he'll pull off his first wedding.
I do agree that we've done things in, she calls it the jazz way. Ultimately, it's going to be the clientele that come or not come, and we'll see if Ruth was right.
But Kent doesn't know that Ruth is also sending in an influential undercover inspector whose opinion could change the fortunes of Stubton Hall.
I know it still looks like there's still a lot to go, but we're just getting so close. This room in a couple of days is going to be really there. We have exactly a month until our first event. Every day I have just a gigantic list of things that need to be done. Every day we have a low period, either because something's not going quite right or just because everything is going right and we're so tired just trying to make it happen.
Some of Kent's design flaws are getting sorted. The bridal walkway linking the accommodation to the function room has been paved, but it remains uncovered. But other artistic ideas, like his tented bathroom, are going full steam ahead.
Kent is really set on this idea, and I think it's going to be beautiful. I don't know how practical it is. I think that in many respects, he's the dreamer and I'm the practical one.
But Kent's worried that the money will run out before they open the hotel to paying guests.
I worry all the time, and I'm having problems sleeping. And it's always about money. And it used to be wonderful. It was about creative decisions like curtains or doing gardens. And now everything is this drip, drip torture of money. It's going to be desperately close to get everything finished for the first bride. It's the most important day of her life, and everything's got to be perfect. We can't screw that up.
I'm just so hellishly busy at the moment. You just don't know. It's the unknown, and it's the first time we've ever done this. It's just that not knowing that always makes it difficult.
The Brainards may be overwhelmed by the prospect of their imminent wedding. Kent's only consolation is that he can shrug off his worries at the end of a long day with a dip in his own lake.
Oh, heck, I don't have a camera. I wish I had a camera.
Kent and Claire want Stubton Hall to be the best country house wedding venue in Britain. But these newcomers face stiff opposition from some well-established hotels, such as Seaham Hall in County Durham, which has history on its side. Lord Byron tied the knot here. Calcutta Manor benefits from being in the established tourist hotspot of the Cotswolds. And Lucknam Park near Bath has 500 acres of parkland and its own equestrian centre. It's summer, and the wedding season is in full swing. Ruth's back to find out whether Kent and Claire have managed to transform the once derelict house into a first-class wedding venue.
Well, they've certainly tidied up the outside. There's no signs of builders. Stubton looks ready to go.
Kent and Claire have gambled £6 million on this risky project. They've done extensive work building a new 200-capacity orangery. The spa exterior is complete, but the inside is still a building site. Ruth wants to discover if the rest of the operation is fit for business.
Hi, Ruth. Hello. How are you, Claire? Very well.
Hi,
and
Ruth.
Kent, look what you've been up to. It's so beautiful. I really want to see around, of course, because we've had lots of obstacles along the way. So can I have the tour?
Yes.
Stubton Hall is no longer an empty shell. The 15 bedrooms now have the wow factor. From the vibrant and whimsical to the calming and classic. The sumptuous bridal suite is now furnished with an eclectic mix of antique and contemporary pieces. The grand four-poster bed is adorned with Prince of Wales feathers.
Chinese wallpaper room. It looks great. It looks great. Love the bed. I mean, this is Country House Hotel at its very best. I think it's a great success. I really like it. I'd be more than happy to stay here.
But will Kent's luxurious but impractical tented bathroom get Ruth's seal of approval?
Aha! You have a ceiling. I mean, it looks very pretty, don't get me wrong. It does look very pretty. And for a bridal room, I mean, it makes it much more special, doesn't it? I'm not going to quibble about it. I think you're insane, but what's new, Kent?
The The once cavernous bar is now warm and inviting, chock full of eccentric artifacts, such as Kent's stuffed animals. But to get open in time has cost them dearly. They are deeply in debt. They have lots of weddings booked for their beautiful music room. Ruth wants to know if they are charging enough to start paying back the £3.5 million in loans.
The venue fee is currently between £2,500 and £3,000, depending on the time of year and the day of the week.
My immediate reaction is it's too cheap. £2,500 for a place like this is actually, I would have thought, on the modest side compared to most places.
You could be right about this. We, again, because of the economy, we've been very careful with how we've priced things because we haven't wanted to gouge people.
There is no way that you should be downgrading your product. Wrong road to go.
The grand orangery, with its Doric columns, looks out onto the terrace and landscaped gardens. Inside, there is comfortably enough room for large wedding parties. This space is their biggest asset and their only hope of paying off their massive debts.
Ooh, wow, what a space. Feels slightly Spartan on the decor.
Mirrors. Well, I have to say that money's been very, very tight.
Yeah.
So as cash flow comes in, we'll be able to add more and more things.
Sure.
So we will be putting mirrors and a bit of trellising.
Style and panache have never been an issue with me. It's just the financing of it.
Ruth is impressed by the stylish front of house. When it comes to the tricky back of house area, Kent has sidestepped his layout problems, as the weddings will use professional caterers who bring their own equipment.
We don't have any planned kitchen as one would recognise a planned kitchen.
I hate to use that word jazz, but this has...
Oh, God, Kent! I really thought that might have died a death.
This kitchen has evolved. We started out with a dishwasher over there. Everything else was kind of flexible.
I'm not going to allow you to consider this a success. This is not a typical working kitchen for a hotel. This bit of improvisation is fine for now, and I'm not going to give you a really hard time about it, but this problem isn't going to go away. It's no surprise to me that Kent and Claire have done a really good job on the decor. I think they've done it with great brio. I think there's a lot of personality. If Kent and Claire can get through the next 18 months, then I think this is going to be a huge success.
It's July. It's taken Kent and Claire 3 years and £6 million, but today they open their doors to paying guests for the first time.
Today's our first wedding, and it's all happening here. We have something like 25 people running around, and there's great action inside that house right now.
There's going to be 90 people for the ceremony today. We have the chairs in place.
It's 11 in the morning, and guests will soon be arriving for the 4 o'clock wedding. But there is a disastrous problem with Kent's plumbing.
We have toilets that aren't flushing. We have bathtubs that are not draining. Things are not going down.
There's something blocked somewhere.
Don't freak out, Brian.
Oh, that looks odd. Oh, this is unfinished. Hey, Stacey, it's Claire. We still have to do beds. I'd love it if you started now.
With guests arriving shortly, some final fixing is taking place.
Look at that. Okay, we'll get somebody up here to do that.
And Claire's eye for detail means she keeps finding areas of the house not up to her standards.
That's filthy down there. My goodness, there's a lot of rubbish here that needs to go.
Disappointing a bride is terrible PR and can sink a wedding venue. They must pull out all the stops in the final 2 hours to get Stubton Hall looking picture perfect.
Yes!
In true English summer style, just before guests arrive, the heavens open. To make matters worse, the downpour outside is accompanied by a drought inside.
So we have no water. It's supposed to have a bowl valve.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And all the water's drained away and there's no water in the bedrooms.
The problem gets fixed, but the stress is taking its toll on Kent.
I'll let you know in a few weeks what it's like being a hotelier. We're not off to a great start.
With the ceremony about to start, there's another problem. One guest is locked in her bathroom because the door handle is missing on the inside.
They're coming over with a handle for it. This will help. You want to take care of them, I have to DJ.
But Kent is learning to delegate. As host, he's needed back in the ceremony room.
Hold on, I got a DJ.
The bride is unaware of the drama, and the trapped guest makes it out with seconds to spare.
You're not doing too bad, she says. It's a sharp learning curve, isn't it?
Soon the sun comes out, and the happy guests spill onto the terrace. Kent feels like celebrating.
The most difficult thing is I would love a glass of champagne, but I can't grab one.
The splendour of Stubton Hall seems to have seduced their guests, and all teething problems have been forgotten.
Couldn't get out of the bathroom because there was no handle on the door.
Every element is a new challenge for Kent and Claire.
First one was bound to be really hard, and I suppose in some ways we were ill-prepared for today. Oh, gas.
But the most important verdict of the day comes from the happy couple.
They have been genuinely great hosts. It feels a bit like you're staying in their house, and that's the thing that's come over. They've worked really hard to make sure we have a nice time.
So I wish them all the success, really.
Yeah, I do as well.
But Kent and Claire face a more critical eye when Ruth sends in an undercover bride.
This worries me, this does worry me, I have to say.
I think you might be interested to hear what Deborah from Brides magazine said.
It's cost £6 million, but Stubton Hall can't yet operate as a full-time hotel. To get some cash flow, they have been open as a wedding venue for 2 months, in which time Kent and Claire have hosted 8 events. Massively in debt, they're working long, grueling hours. But unbeknownst to them, one big test lies ahead which could make or break Stubton Hall. Ruth is sending in a secret inspector. Editor of Condé Nast's Brides magazine, Deborah Joseph is posing as a demanding customer. She's visited the finest venues in the country, but only the very best make it into her influential top 100 places to get married. It's not off to a good start. Deborah has time to turn on her hidden camera, as Claire is late for the appointment after an important financial meeting.
Hello. Hi, so sorry. I'm Deborah. Hi.
I'm Claire. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is Cecilia, my mother-in-law. Hi.
But Claire turns on her charm for a guided tour. Deborah inspects the reception rooms, bedrooms and views, but the taxidermy in the bar is a distinct turn-off.
Right. I was just going to say, it's lovely, but the dead animals don't do it for me. Oh, horrible.
Next, the uncovered walkway linking the house to the orangery. Although they plan to cover it, Deborah notices it's open to the elements.
This worries me, this does worry me, I have to say. I've got curly hair, and the thought of having to walk outside before my wedding in the rain and walking with a big frisbee on my head doesn't fill me with joy.
Claire has no idea that Deborah is inspecting Stubton Hall.
Thank you so much, thank you. Bye, thank you, speak to you soon. Sooner than you think.
It's down to Ruth to break the news of this crucial assessment.
You may remember you had a pretty little bride with her mother-in-law come to look.
Do you know who that was?
I do know who that was.
You sent some people over? Oh, you evil woman.
That was a young lady called Deborah, who is editor of Condé Nast Brides magazine.
Oh, Ruth.
What you're now going to get is some real objective feedback.
Hello. Oh, Deborah, you snake in the grass.
So, you had a tour. Claire showed you around. How did you get on?
We love the decor, we love the interiors, we love the views, and the price is very good price. Very, very reasonable.
No, I have to stop. I think it's a bit too cheap.
There are other wedding venues of this ilk and they charge around 5,000, so you are cheap. I did have a couple more thoughts. We really didn't like the taxidermy. You know, you're getting married, I think dead animals hanging from the wall probably isn't what you want to look at.
What did you feel about the access to the orangery from the main house?
You really do need to cover that area for a wedding.
So Deborah, overall, what was your experience of Stubton Hall?
I think it's amazing. I think you've got the most beautiful venue, amazing grounds. I think in particular we love the fact that it's going to be private and just the bridal party can enjoy it and party until whatever time in the morning they want, which is really what every bride wants.
But Ruth has another surprise for Kent and Claire.
I think you might be interested to hear what Deborah from Brides Magazine said. And that is that she is going to put you in her top 100 places to be married. Is that good?
That brings tears to my eyes. That's fantastic. We've worked so hard. That means a huge amount to me. Oh, yeah, we worked so hard.
Deborah's endorsement may provide a welcome boost for revenue, but their troubles are not over. They are still millions in debt and money is a constant worry. The next year will be crucial as they struggle to pay off their debts to the banks and contractors.
You know, when you face losing your house, it's the world's biggest wake-up call. It's absolutely terrifying.
Knowing what you know now, would you do it again?
It's a tough question.
That's a very difficult question. I remain very proud of what we've done, and we've had some wonderful experiences along the way. But I'm an art historian. I write books. I miss doing that. And in some ways, life seemed easier then. But I'd like to go on and make a big success out of this.
I can't help noticing that both of you have lost a lot of weight since I last saw you.
I think it's for all the wrong reasons.
If you want to go on the best diet ever, buy a large country house, convert it into a hotel, have a few financial problems, and then walk back and forth a lot, and oh, you've lost a lot of weight. You've done well.
I'd like to say that whilst not a fibre of my being approves of the way you've gone about it, I do love what you've achieved, and I think you deserve every success. I really, really do, and I really hope you'll get it.
Thank you, Ruth.
Ruth, you've been so helpful.
If ever there were a cautionary tale, then this is it. Two very bright people who appear to be wealthy enough get so carried away that what should have been a golden project turns into something that's really tarnished, at least in their own minds. But actually, they have succeeded here in producing something really beautiful, and I do wish them every success.
Next time, Ruth battles a no-star hotel in Blackpool.
This is in a time warp. It's okay for a 6-year-old, but it's not for a grown person.
Where an in-house spa sparks war.
Nobody's going to come to stay in a horrible room just to have one treatment.
It's a domain she doesn't know anything about. I do.
Right now, this hotel's redundant.
They are vampires, but not as we know them. A brand new drama series begins tonight where the undead live amongst the mortals. True Blood is at 10. Well, coming up next, a secret millionaire helps young people who have turned their back on gang violence.